Hello, and welcome to our D&D Wednesday session 51 for the Wrath of the Immortals campaign. With music thrown in there by Sirenscape so we stop hitting those copyright violations, but we'll try our best not to trip those ones up later. So tonight we are using Sirenscape with the Brindle Town music with no pause. That is our soundscape at the moment. So I will pass it over to Martin to introduce himself and his character while I get other people into the game.
Okay, I'm playing Willie Toscobble, a halfling thief, no bard, and
Is there much difference?
well, he's an urchin. He's a street urchin.
Hello.
Oh, that's David.
It
Cool.
is. So keep introducing yourself.
I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah. All right.
You're the 3D urgent halfling bard
Yeah.
who is definitely not a thief.
Definitely not a thief. But,
Okay.
Okay.
So moving around to Stefan,
So
who is definitely not a thief.
No, I'm playing Rhea, who is a druid.
Not wizard. Definitely
Not
not a
a
wizard.
wizard.
Not a wizard.
Yes, well,
Not a wizard.
the temple changed my classes. So I went in a sorcerer, came out of druid.
Right.
You almost said wizard. I watched.
And, yes, weird things happened and we shall not speak of it.
We shall not.
Yeah.
And then we move on to Jeremy. Hello, Jeremy.
Good evening, all. Yes, I'm playing Dimitrios, sage and knowledge bearer for the party.
An all-round good guy.
Well, absolutely. Or at least all round most useful, anyway. Obviously.
Is he good at sailing?
If you ask him, he's good at everything.
I was going to say, you haven't seen him sail yet, have you?
No, but we're about to.
He'll be able to instruct you in the appropriate techniques.
Okay.
And then moving on to David, who's just joined us. Welcome.
Hello. I'm David. I play Plum Gorinov, an Ethengarian barbarian, awfully fond of horses. Not that fond of anything that's not a horse.
Which is why it's fantastic you've shown up for the boats.
Not fond of boats, not fond of Pegasus, not fond of unicorns, not fond of anything that isn't Ethengarian horses, really. And even horses. If they're not Ethengarian, then they're not really any good.
Yes, that is the thing. So, currently they are travelling in the Hollow World, which is the world inside a world of Mystara. And they are currently tracking down a prince and a missing senator, because one of the princes they found, they managed to kill horribly instead of save. So it might be 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Okay, we didn't kill him.
Well, he did die because of your interactions.
Yes, but it definitely wasn't us that killed him.
But it definitely wasn't you who saved him either.
Well, no, because he effectively saved us.
And your job was to save him. So I'd still put that down as a cross in the success category for that actual part of the story.
No, it's just the those who set the quest originally didn't understand the full situation. The goblin was certainly not worth saving anyway.
Is that because he was
saving.
Is that because he was a goblin?
No,
Right.
not specifically.
Racist.
But he was obviously beyond saving from the time that
You had to save him?
he or his friend, I can't remember which one it was now off the top of my head, killed the old guy in the caravan and then left him for dead. They stole the whole caravan and dragged them down to this bloody hollow world.
Dimitri's a racist against goblins.
Is that because they made you come to Hollow World yet again?
Yeah. And I didn't even get to catch up with Yen while I was down here.
I know. Horrible, isn't it? Okay, so last time he was here,
He hasn't even been talking on the diamond for a while.
But he's
Yeah, they're
he,
two
he is
sextants.
in the hollow world, so there's no loss of opportunity. To
Well, he
see.
doesn't know where Yem is,
Right. Okay.
and now he has to leave Yem's people without speaking to Yem, so he feels horrible about that
Right.
because Yem was just such a great conversationalist.
Better than us. Yes.
And
Yeah.
presumably, he hasn't been talking much through the diamond in the last, basically since we started on this quest.
Well, not since you got here, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so last we had it, you were heading to the Azcans to travel with the Merry Pirates to the Millennium Nation. And from there, you were going to go to Nithia. And after seeing the Nithians, you were then going to head to Jompa to deal with the last leg of your journey. So,
Or at least deal with any other subquests that come up in the meantime.
that too. If you like, I have a book of subquests I can pull out.
Well, I thought the first subquest was actually to try and find a horse on the way back to Escan, wasn't it?
It was, but when you got told most of the horses were in the Millennium Nation, that's when Playman said, yeah, let's go there.
Fair enough.
Because most of the other people don't have horses. Okay, so traveling to Azcan takes you about 2 or 3 days travel. Well, two or three cycles of the floating continents around the sun. Because, well, if you go by days travel, you've only been here 1 day so far.
Right.
Yes, it's alright. Dimitri's happy to tell you when it's sun up and sundown effective.
The downside is you're not exactly sure what is sun up and sundown on your actual related time zone.
Well, but we're working on the idea that sundown was the time that the Black Serpent got sent up. Obviously, that's not happening anymore, presumably not happening anymore, but Dimitri still recognised the time based upon that, and so therefore we're able to extrapolate sun up and sundown in that sort of manner.
Nerd.
So, for each day, are we having one sleep?
Effectively, yeah. Like 8 hours sleep in every 24 hours of activity.
Okay.
But you're sleeping in the tropics
Right.
in noonday light and heat.
Okay. Yes.
It never cools down.
All right.
Well, at least for a lot of the time we're travelling through the forest of the gentlefolk somewhat, so at least it becomes real dapple sunlight.
Yeah. And you are definitely in the tropics. Okay, so you spend I'll say a week you take your time traveling to Azkar. Back to where you had flown up.
And do they do ritual sacrifice and stuff, or?
Yep. Ritual sacrifice is a way of life for them.
So the problem was that the ritual had changed and become a lot more prevalent,
All right.
but that should have stopped again now that we've killed the high priest and destroyed the smoking mirror.
Okay. So as you approach closer,
But I'm suggesting that we certainly put the robes back on again. That meant that we were actually no, because they were priest robes, weren't they?
they were priest robes. I'm sure that will help greatly.
So no, we won't wear priest robes just yet because we'll have to find out exactly what the state of play is in the world at the moment.
Okay.
Okay, so you have to travel through the swamps of the Malfegedi, which remind you of the swamps in Darrakan itself, which were reputed to be the home to lizard folk before they were wiped out.
Yep.
So, how good your lizardman etiquette?
Well,
Perfect.
Perfect pretty much is a lizardman, so obviously perfect.
Okay, so reaching the edge of their swamplands, you were greeted by a bunch of these colourful lizard folk. Some of them have feathered headdresses, others more muted colours. But they do run the gambit of colours to your eyes.
So this basically, as we're leaving the lands of the gentlefolk, we're moving into lands of lizard folk. Is that right?
Yep. You were told that was probably the safest way there,
Right.
because no one really travels through the mountains. It gets too hot.
But the mountains. Okay. Well. But yeah, it was not traveling through the mountains is why we're actually going northwards back to Azcan, isn't it?
Yeah, it is correct.
That's right. So, okay. If we've come across a border patrol or the equivalent, yep, we'll greet them. Explain we're passing through lands on the way to Azcan.
They're asking if you're here for the feast.
Mm,
Is that
dangerous.
We're going to get eaten?
Would you like to get
Stop
eaten? They answer.
No.
Well,
Then
we had
choice
no-
is yours.
Then what?
we had
Choice is
no
yours.
expectation
All
or
right. Well,
plans
we know we don't want to get eaten.
be entertained on our way through, but it would appear that we are approaching the passing of the continent. It would appear that would make it towards time to settle for the evening for a rest.
You get from their bad broken speech, because they obviously haven't got a level of language that your language translator is good at translating.
Yep.
But they have a feast of greetings that they offer to newcomers to gauge their intentions.
All right, but that's not being eaten.
Hard to tell. Their language doesn't quite translate that well.
Okay. And how big's this greeting party?
You were greeted by a probably about 7 of these guys all up, each in different shades of color.
And so, I suggested that we were approaching rest period, but how long have we actually been travelling this day so far?
You
or
probably
this
would have been
period?
traveling for about 2 days by this stage.
I mean, like how close to a rest period were we expected to be? Like, is the feast of greeting set to be a dinner, or is it set to be a lunch or a breakfast?
Okay, let me roll the dice.
Or maybe
and
11
figure that
cents.
out. Okay, so 4 hours into the day.
Okay, so it's potentially a
Morning tea.
a mid-activity meal. We would be pleased to pause briefly in our travels.
Okay, they have a series of nuts, cheeses, and berry drinks for your indulgence.
All sound delicious.
They ask you why you wish to pass through their lands.
We are heading northward. We were originally working with the Azcan people. However, unfortunate events took us away. We're aiming to return.
Most people leave as cannot go back. Why you go back?
Well, unfinished business.
Like on the surface world, is that what you mean?
Even on the in the Hollow World, most people who escape from the Azcan people don't go back.
Considering the fact that most people who visit the Azcan become
Sacrifices.
Right.
parts of their religious ceremonies.
Okay, so these lizard people are not Azcans.
No, they're on the edge. They live
Right.
on the edge of their society.
Okay.
So
Yes, we did
Azcans
see
who cross
lizard,
their border are at disadvantage.
Right.
but we did see lizard folk amongst them in Azcan as well. So
You did, and while lizard folk are in their zones, they have disadvantage.
yeah. So, but yes, Demetrio was definitely implying that yes, the unfinished business was not necessarily good news for the Azcan people.
In which case, that they wish to speed you on your way, and they are sending you a guide to take you through the swamps as quickly as possible.
Much appreciated.
And don't worry, he's a mute guide. He won't talk to you.
Always interested, even so, that finding out about new places and new cultures. And then dismissing them as unworthy.
Okay, so they managed to take you all the way out to the edge of their swamps and the start of a major river that is called the Snake River. He points down river and let me see if I can get the inches right. See how far away you technically are. So, on estimate, you're about 60 miles from the main city. Well, one of the main cities that's on the port.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who gave you the guide said you'll be not far from Tenpo Kalitilatul.
Indeed. I recognise the location well.
In the Gulf of Aztlan. Which is better than Utilimakitama or Chitilican, which were the ones where you'd cause a lot of strife.
I was going to say, because they actually, so yes, the descriptions, whether or not Dimitri had actually heard of them or knew of that place at all, he was noting the fact that it wasn't actually the central capital or the town where we picked up a couple of slaves.
No, wasn't either of those. It's on the other side of the main continental area.
Why'd we take up slavery?
Well, we actually took up a couple of slaves to stop them being killed.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so we had someone to sacrifice if needed. Yeah, that was the side one.
Right. That
well,
went unsaid.
It also helped our
Cover?
our cover of being priests going into the capital.
Okay. No,
Hey,
worries.
Mark,
So,
Jeremy, I'm beginning to sense a pattern with the parties that I'm involved in.
what?
What do you mean, sense? I thought they were blatantly like that.
What a pragmatic. Yeah,
There's a lot of slavery going on in the parties that I'm involved with.
but not at the
Well,
moment.
you know, Dave, it was actually something that occurred to me after, last week after the session with Cordar and Co.
Yeah.
Was the fact that the really disappointing realization that of all the people in the party, Cordar was most happy to be partying with was Balath.
So, basically, the two characters who got
worked
along
out
the
that,
least
oh,
were the
well.
happiest together.
Right. Okay.
Tangacero appears to be insane. Pinwinkle appears to be incompetent. And Balath is at least, well, he doesn't like him in any way, shape or form, but at least he knows exactly what to expect.
I was going to say, this is the same two party members who were at each other's throats
Absolutely.
for the longest time.
What game is this referencing?
The alternate weeks, Wednesday.
Right. Okay.
It's
So,
Pathfinder. But yes, it was
Not much
that
different to this game.
Okay.
disappointing realization that, my
Yeah.
most preferred party member I loathe.
Yeah?
Right.
How good's that?
Shows you just how good role playing is.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay.
Absolutely. But, sorry, yes.
So you make it to the river, and there is a road leading alongside. So in 2 days, you can make it to the capital, to that major town, city.
And so this, you were saying this town is on the coast, so basically I'm assuming we
It's a
can go
port
down,
city.
we're going downriver on this point.
Yep.
So, yes, well, if it's only going to be a couple of days travel along the river, or a couple periods of travelling along the river, it's probably not worth trying to actually get a boat or raft or anything like that. Do we see much river traffic though?
You don't see much in the way of river traffic. A lot of
Any
the
other road
station has
traffic?
been depopulated of late.
Okay.
Right.
Something to do with mass sacrifices.
Yeah, there's been a small change in the population density.
And as you arrive at the city itself, you see very few people lining up to go in. where you saw a lot more last time when you were coming through, and that the guards aren't even bothering to check.
Right, and I was also curious the fact that are we seeing much evidence of priesthood?
You see not a single priest.
Right. How many slaves?
Hard to tell because most of the people here don't dress much better than slaves, so they could be slaves or they could just be very poor people having to work in the city.
Are we seeing any evidence of the vacant-eyed blank slaves that we were seeing before?
No, but there is a mass grave that seems to be newly dug outside the city.
Okay.
Are we rare?
Yes.
As humans and halflings?
You're the only elf. You're the only halfling you've seen.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you probably turned around at one point as we approached, as we got into Azcan lands and looked around and noted that in fact Dimitri looks a bit different because he's done an alter self on himself to actually appear more Azcan.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can do that.
You do that as well?
Yeah.
So you look like a child.
Yeah.
Or a very small adult.
No, I'm happy with child. That's fine.
And so you've only got this strange Atlantish Raya because Playman just fits in anyway.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close anyway, so... Yeah.
Just seeing how many times I can cast disguise.
But at least it's one
If it's
outlier.
concentration, once.
But at least it's only one outlier in the party instead of a party of outliers. So, yep.
I think Disguise Self is a self spell that is concentration.
Okay.
Yeah. But okay, apparently it's not going to be that important anyway if the guards appear to be lax. So how big is this town we're going into?
Okay, you think the town was designed for about 30 or 40,000 people?
Okay, we're talking pretty large city. And obviously then presumably a bustling port when we finally get to it.
Okay,
Yep.
looking at the port has more people in it than the rest of the town put together, it looks like.
Right.
And most of that are the traders that are coming in via port. And
Okay.
there's a stockpile of goods on the docks with no one to move it.
Well, that could happen when you suddenly your economy, your slave-based economy loses slaves, or slaves suddenly become slightly less mindless.
Well, having a look around, you don't see many slaves here at all.
Yeah, I'm just Dimitri's privately thinking, yes, I'm sure the gods will be so pleased that we protected their spell of preservation. And not have any impact on the culture whatsoever.
Right.
Well,
Do you ask anything of anyone as you're going through the gates?
going through the gates, I'm happy to not question or be questioned. But once we get inside, will be more of an opportunity to get some information. Considering we couldn't get much on the way to the town because there wasn't enough people. But yes, what sort of how long have we been travelling today when we arrive in town?
You roughly arrive in town after you've been travelling for about 6 to 8 hours.
Right. Okay. So we're looking for a place to rest for the evening.
And looking around, the majority of the buildings appear to be used for squatting.
Because there's been a reduction in the population.
Doesn't appear to be any beggars on the streets whatsoever, which you pretty much had to push through when you first came here.
Right.
But what about street side traders?
They seem to be moved themselves into buildings and are displaying out of buildings. That people
Okay,
used
so,
to live in.
so the economy is still working. It's just shifted a little bit.
And apparently no one's buying.
Okay.
That just means it's a good time to get supplies.
Yep. Absolutely.
Because you think all these big buildings that already had stuff in it, people didn't have to buy stuff. It was more than enough to go around.
Yep. So, well, we will aim to get a little bit of food from a local vendor as we're going through, with the intent of also seeing if there's a local tavern or equivalent.
So they have rat or beetle on a stick. Your choice. The beetle's about the same size as the rat.
Is there
I was
carrots
gonna
on the
say.
stick?
Carrots on a stick, they look at you going, I don't dig in the ground.
Okay.
Well,
I got these fair and square.
I think Dimitri's hunger can be satisfied with some information.
I don't sell information, I sell rat and beetle on a stick. I don't know how to sell information, he says.
So therefore you're happy to give it away for free. That's nice.
But I don't have any information laying around here. He looks confused, trying to look for the information stick.
Well, let us help you look for the information. I think I was going to say, and we've seen no evidence of a slave pens yet, have we?
No,
At least not used ones.
the slaves' pens are all sitting empty.
Okay. And can we see a temple in town?
You can see a temple in town, just that it appears to be quiet without any guards.
Not particularly
there at all.
occupied, and no one going to and from.
No one seems to be going anywhere near it, and there's nothing. There's no sacrificial altar with something burning on it.
well, that's just unnatural.
So, in which case then, whilst helping this vendor find the information that he therefore would be willing to give away if he actually had it, we'll inquire as to how things fare in the town. How's the day been?
He has this rather boring. No one really wants to buy anything because, well, apparently they're just giving food away at the markets daily. And all he knows how to do is catch and sell food.
Well, it's important skill and important knowledge, I think. So.
But
they're giving away the food?
yeah, it's just giving away food. Apparently they've got enough food to go around. Strange that. You know, you go for a lifetime having to beg and scrape for even just a mouthful every 2 days, and suddenly you can have a full belly every night. That's just crazy talk.
Wow.
The world's going crazy.
Where does his plenty come from?
He has no idea, but not from the priest. Saw the priest packed up and went north. Apparently they were grumbling about having to fix the temple with their own blood and bones.
The priests have left?
Yeah.
So the governor now controls?
Well, governor now controls, and he apparently there's been accidents on any priests that have returned.
What happened? Slaves.
He looks around. What slaves? I see no slaves here.
That's it. It's odd that we see no slaves.
It's a good thing not to see slaves because then you've got only people. Everyone's a person. You're a person. I'm a person. We're all people, right? He says with a really manic grin on his face.
Yeah.
I catch bugs and rats. He says.
And very fine bugs and rats they are indeed.
But you didn't buy any.
Well, I wouldn't wish to deprive others of them.
But I got plenty to go around.
Simon's happy to buy a rat.
He sells you a rat on a stick for whatever you're willing to give him.
Something worthless, like a gold piece.
The lowest form of currency I have.
A rock.
You mean a lowest form of the local currency you have?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I think we did pick up a few shells and the like.
And some jade shards.
Well, we've also got some jade, but they may not qualify as the lowest form of that he got.
Yeah.
Of course, jade may be less worthwhile now that the religious hierarchy has changed.
Which, from what you know of the spell of preservation, shouldn't be able to happen.
Exactly, that's what I'm say. Dimitri had the private thought of, I'm sure the gods will be pleased we protected their spell of preservation.
So what does Flaming give him?
A very insignificant shell.
He takes the shell and he seems so happy you gave him a shell. He puts it puts it on his thing, comes around, gives you a big hug, and then gives you 2 rats on a stick. And then goes back with a big happy smile on his face.
While Willie appropriates the shell that he left behind.
Does Willie appropriate the shell?
I don't think I steal the shell.
How about the rat on the stick?
No, I think that's
the bug on the stick?
That's Plum.
That's my rat, you fuck.
Yeah.
Do you want to steal the bug on the stick? Because Flaming got 2 rats on the stick.
No.
Or the other rats on the stick. That's what you want to steal.
I'm happy to go without a rat on a stick. For the time being.
Don't worry, they have been cooked. He says so.
All right.
Yes.
I'll
That movement they're doing, purely reflexive. I will inquire also then of our new friend as to whether there might be any vendors offering accommodation for the evening.
Possibly, but there's still empty buildings. Just find one of those. That would work.
Fair enough, but no place where people might gather to drink away their toils of the day?
What's drink? He says, looking at you confused.
So,
Why do they want to drink water?
well, fair enough.
Okay.
So, or possibly pass the time with a bit of some dice.
He looks at you. What's dice?
The bones.
What do you do with bones? I normally throw them in pots and cook with. So
It's a good use.
it's a group cooking thing?
A good use for bones, indeed. Yes. So,
Well, I do group cooking with other friendly vendors. Did you want to join?
that's all right. We'll come back on time.
That's okay. I'm sure we'll still be cooking up a storm. I add a rat on the stick every now and then.
Indeed.
I contribute, he says, looking very happy with himself.
A very good job indeed. Yes, well, I would suggest that we keep wandering a bit. Potentially, see if we can find something that equivalent to a tavern, or we just head straight to the docks.
As you're walking further in town, you hear the sound of raucous music in the distance.
Okay. And follow the sound.
As you get closer, you hear many different instruments all playing a very different tune to what's been sung and done.
But are they Azcan music and instruments, or potentially?
Does not appear to be.
Sorry?
Does not appear to be.
Oh, that's good. That's all right then. We're more likely to come across people who, have a better chance of actually arranging a boat travel out of here.
Okay, so as you get close to the docks, you see that there are 6 large sailing ships docked in the harbour here, and on the front of each one of those, they have a fairly large band playing music on each ship, competing against each other for noise.
And is that meant to attract people?
You have no idea.
Well,
Okay.
do they appear to be? They're obviously not of Azcan culture. Do all 6 ships appear to be of similar culture?
Well, they're all flying various flags of piracy that you recognise.
Right. Okay. So we are talking the true princes of the sea, as we've been informed. It's just a matter of working out which one's the king. And obviously that gets determined by the strength of their band.
I'm sure they all have their I Am the Pirate King song going. They are known as the Merry Pirates for more than one reason.
So, well, presumably Little Miss and or Simply Red would be interested to step forward and provide their advice and information on the best ship or the most likely option to travel with. Given they're apparently being a bit quiet at the moment, do any of the ships look any differences or variation between them from other people's perspective?
Give me a perception roll. Anyone who wants to give their perception.
Oh, now
Oh,
we
good.
get decent perception.
The dice are in the off week.
Oh fuck. Okay.
So I've got +8 on perception, and I got 9.
So what would you like to tell everyone you see?
Definitely the third ship.
24.
It's obviously the most important, the one that's about to depart. They're obviously getting set, because you can see by based on the way their current ties on the dock there.
So Rhea got 25.
24.
24. How much did Willie get?
9.
So you also think along the same lines of Dimitri?
Lon got 19.
And both Rhea and Dimitri look at both of you two with the don't know what ships you're looking at. As Playman is easily able to tell you about the of the ships not being the same. Until Rhea pipes up about the sails and the rigging being all of completely different configurations, and this is obviously the best for that reason. And for most of you, it's just like someone's going meh 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 shit meh 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 shit.
Yeah. No, that's pretty accurate.
But that's okay, because they're both obviously talking about the third ship.
Whereas Playman's talking about the second ship and Rya's talking about the fourth ship.
Oh no, you said they're all talking about the third ship. You misunderstood.
What figureheads do these ships have?
They all have ranging from sirens to the Death's Head.
Okay, so each one has
The
a different one.
third ship has the Grim Reaper on the front.
Well, that's creepy. Okay.
But I'm sure that has no special meaning for that Dimitri chose that one.
Okay.
That just means it's more awesome.
There doesn't have to be a figurehead of the world tree, is there?
Having a look around, no.
No. Okay.
But the one you like the most does seem to have a siren sort of motif on the front.
Okay.
The one Playman likes the most seems to have some sort of horse motif on the front.
That's fair.
Well, of course.
And so the one that Dimitri seems to like the most has the Thanatos motif on the front.
Of course.
And the ship is also known as the Reaper.
Well, if someone points out Thanatos' the prow of Thanatos on the front, that obviously Dimitri missed when he was looking at the moorings and the yard line on the boat, because he wasn't looking at decorative features, because obviously they're not important.
Yes, you can sail with the undead. We'll sail with the living. Thank you.
He'd be happy to accept that. Oh well, no, okay.
The Death's Head means that they're ahead of the pack, right?
Yes, payment for boarding is just your own head.
So
It's
yeah,
not like they're asking an arm and a leg like the others.
He's happy to accept that. Well, boats are all much of a muchness anyway, so yeah, we don't need to go for one that actually seems to be a crew that seem to be Thanatos worshippers, or other
Rhea seems very
worshippers of he
offended.
who shall not be named.
They are not much of a muchness. Rhea is very offended.
They're all the same.
Yeah, even that horse motif is the same as a sea motif. So you don't really need to go to the horse motif at all.
Well,
Rhea holds back in explaining the intricacies of the different sailing systems and so forth, and just shuts up.
well, if Ryan's so set on that one, then we can
What's your
certainly ask them
background?
if they're ready to, if they're available and willing to take passengers.
Okay.
So I know ships.
Yeah, he just happened to roll perfectly for the time he needed it.
Okay.
Though you do know that of all the ships in port, not one of them was actually historically accurate.
What's wrong with them?
Everything.
Oh.
They've been built from different historical periods, each ship. So not one ship would have existed in the time frame it was based off.
So the making of it does not coincide with its design?
No, someone has either rebuilt the ship multiple times, or they have remodeled the ship using elements from this separate time frames and cultures into each ship.
Right, okay.
So you'll get things that the equivalent of, I've got this oriental looking design on this part of the ship. At the other end of the part, I've got this ship, I've got this Egyptian style look.
Oh, what?
Along the side, I might have this English sort of look on one side, and then across the top, it might be a Spanish sort of look. And they don't seem to have any real choice or design into why they change between styles. So you're looking at the boats going, my head hurts.
Yeah.
As you're tracing these different designs, it's like someone taking a riding horse and crossing it with an elephant, a tiger, and a dog, and calling it's a horse.
This is unacceptable.
Yeah, this is confusing. It's like they couldn't decide on what they wanted to do. Let's have everything. Oh.
But everything that they've done, you think actually makes them far more seaworthy than each of their ships would have been in their own right.
That is irrelevant. The horse is a horse.
I mean,
No matter that they're taking these separate cultures and merged them into one cohesive design that seems to be far more seaworthy than any of the designs did on their own.
Well,
Unacceptable.
seafaringly fascinating, it's still confusing.
And it's not what Dimitri's been talking about the spell of preservation about. This does not meet the spell of preservation.
Something's amiss here.
Just enough to throw into Dimitri's face if you wish to.
No.
So we're going ship 3, is that right?
Yeah, definitely.
I think it was. Well, I think Raya was going to lead us to ship 4 with the and therefore find out whether or not they were willing to take passengers
Okay, so
Okay.
down south to the Millennial Empire.
So you head to the one with the siren on the front. It has a very Theatin style pirate flag hanging over the top. Of course, it hasn't been used for like 200 years now, but that was very big in the day.
Yep.
And these guys are singing quite loud, and apparently the guy on top is doing a big rendition of why he is the pirate king.
Do I know the song?
The song's been around in many incarnations for quite a while. Yes,
Okay, can I join in?
you can. You can try to out sing him.
I don't out-sing, so join in.
You can. Give me a perform roll.
Uh-oh. I regret everything and nothing. I'm gonna re-roll that because that's terrible. So let's use a re-roll, please, if you have any left.
We do have some because we haven't used any yet today.
Oh, what the hell was that?
Was it a natural one? Was it?
No,
it was a
one
1.1.
higher.
Much better.
Yeah, thanks.
Twice as good.
So Rhea starts trying to join in, and suddenly there's silence on the dock.
Plumman grabs him and
Got
very
like a
gently pulls him
7.
away.
And everyone on the ships are now looking at Raya.
Greetings.
Plumman takes 3 steps away from Raya and pretends that he doesn't know him.
So you get this tug in the arm, and then suddenly you're standing by yourself amongst a circle of nothing.
That's fine. I'll just take a bow and say greetings, Reaper. Well, not Reaper. We're on the fucking siren, aren't we?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Wow.
So
you
from the
rolled
ship
one
below,
again.
someone calls out, "Challenge accepted."
What? What?
You say, "Greeting, Reaper."
What challenge? What have I just done? Oh god. Okay.
Plumman steps forward again.
So you see this guy with a lute coming forward, plucking his strings with a big scimitar at his side. He says, "We shall dance off and see who is the best pirate king." As a
Okay.
challenger, you get to go first.
What does that mean?
I think
You don't
I
know.
just
You've never seen it before.
accidentally challenged him to a duel.
What a duel, a
Just
dance
challenge
off.
him to a dance off.
Dance off.
Why do I
Your
feel like this is
breakdance
gonna
fighting.
end with banjos and guns?
Well, yeah, he's got the loot.
This feels like Monkey Island Part 3. Alright.
When you call for the Reaper, you get reaped, he says.
Not quite what I was going for, but sure. Oh, there we go. Something a bit better. That's a 16.
Okay, so all the ships around you are having this clap to your dance as you're doing this, dance off in front of him. Not sure exactly what you're doing, but everyone seems to be, watching you.
So you're winning.
Depends what he
So-
gets.
He starts doing his dance off. He gets a 16,
Oh, okay. Them's fighting legs.
and he basically gives you a cheesy grin and says, "Back to you, madame."
I mean, he's got a point.
That's a 9.
That's a 9. Okay. So he gets a 16 again. As he, starting to do pirouettes around you while playing the lute and singing a song of how bad your performance was,
Yeesh. Okay.
with a lot
Well,
of laughter
claps
coming from
along.
around you.
Yeah, I think he wins that one.
And he says, "Final round."
Oh, final round. Okay.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm re-rolling that one. That was just terrible. Come on.
Oh, it's funnier when
Oh,
you
that's
don't.
better. That's a 20.
Natural 20.
No.
Okay, he gets a 22.
What? What is this? Oh.
He
That's
is a
okay.
pirate king.
He is a pirate king. Okay.
Maybe I should have done this. But whatever.
And so apparently he ends with why he is the pirate king.
Which is?
He's just that much better at singing than you are.
Right, but it doesn't.
He can sing, dance, and play an instrument at the same time. He's a triple threat.
But he's not
Right.
going. He's not going to kill
Probably
you.
stab you at the same time too.
Yeah, well. Alright, fair enough.
And as he's going through the end of it, you see his sword is bouncing around to his tune without being held.
Oh, he has a magical sword. Nice.
You know there are singing swords.
Yes, I don't want to know.
What? Intelligent weapon? That, never heard of here.
Yeah, it's not like I have one on me.
And so he sort of points at you and says, "Never call the Reaper unless you're willing to pay." And then he turns around and walks off.
Fair enough.
So what was the end result of that? Nothing.
The guy feels like he put him in his place.
Okay.
I got put in my place.
And now all of the soldiers, or all the other pirates are staring down at Rhea and seeing what Rhea's going to do.
Laugh and take a bow.
Okay.
And admit I was outdone. And I will introduce myself and my fellow compatriots.
And how do you introduce them?
By name?
Here is blah. Here is blah. Here is blah. And I am blah.
Exactly. They can introduce themselves. I'm sure they're capable of wagging their tongues.
But you do have everyone's attention. You have the floor.
I will ask the captain if he's willing to give
Which captain?
the one I danced off with.
Oh, he walked away.
Oh, he walked away. Okay.
After, winning his duel.
How many captains are on this vessel?
There are 6 captains at pier.
Okay.
There's 6 ships, so
and
you.
One
And
of
you
those-
walked up to the 4th ship calling for the captain of the 3rd ship,
Yeah.
who came up and challenged you.
Right. Fair
Because you
enough.
called him from the wrong ship.
Fair enough. Okay, so he's gone back. So captain of the Siren. Okay.
Ever the diplomat, Stefan.
Exactly. Diplo what now?
What's your charisma performance bonus?
+3.
Probably nowhere near
No,
yours.
I've got +8.
Yeah, only a little bit
who's
off the
counting?
Pirate King. The Pirate King had +10.
Right.
Which is why he was doing such nice scores. He rolled a 6 and got a 16.
But I'll ask the captain of the Siren if they're free.
No, we charge.
Yes,
And for elves like you, double.
Yep, I assumed as such.
You do, then why do you ask if we're all free?
Oh, they can pop this on my forehead. I will.
He swings down to the pier that you're standing on. You have no idea where the route was or it came from, but he swung down. He's just that style.
That's fine. I will ask if he's willing to give us passage to. Insert name here. Forgot.
I can send you to many places.
Where are we going? I forgot the name. That's out of character. I forgot the name.
Apparently Dimitri is needed.
Yes, Dimitri, where are we
Knowledge
going?
bearer.
I told you already, we're going to the Millennial Empire.
That place, Millennial Empire.
Oh, so he's the real leader of the party. You're just the face person. Should I deal with him instead?
Sure.
I'm light entertainment, but go ahead.
You're light entertainment? Oh, I think so. You're short. We have many short entertainers like you who are very light on their feet.
Okay.
They love the tall masks. They can carry a tune. Can you carry a tune?
Yeah.
You must be fairly strong there.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
But they seem to be teasing you with almost everything they say.
Okay.
So, Mr. Travelling to the Millennium Empire.
Indeed. Yes.
And how will you pay for your travel? Obviously not with song, he says, looking at Raya.
That's fair.
Well, we are merely looking at booking passage, determining appropriate recompense, yes.
And
What
it
sort
looks
of
like
price
it's
do we expect to pay for such a trip?
It's a supply.
I'm told it should be
market.
completely
There's-
uneventful.
There's 6 ships.
Yeah, there are 6 ships, and I speak for all of them, he says.
Yeah.
Do we believe him?
One moment.
Sure.
I pull Dimitri aside and tell him when it comes to dealing with pirates and shipwrights, you never ask them to set a price. You set the price first and you go from there.
And you see him lean over and goes, yes, I would agree with this pointy-eared guy over here. That if you get me to set the price for you, I will steal you outrageously, otherwise I wouldn't be called pirate. And then he leans back again.
Should we leave a statement of a starting figure on the sense that if I'm not happy with it, I'll go and talk to one of the others?
Sure. My starting figure is, he looks you up and down, and then he points to the halfling, 2 of him in gold.
Yeah.
He's obviously the heaviest amongst you. He says with a twinkle in his eye.
Well, alas, we've only got one halfling and he hasn't been dipped in gold yet, so I guess we'll have to go elsewhere.
I said his weight, not him. There's a difference. Do you have a counter offer?
Yeah,
And what is your counter offer?
we'll go and talk to someone else.
He puts out a shrill whistle, and you see 5 other captains walking up the pier towards you.
So it's a collective.
It's a bit
They
off.
are a society.
Right.
They actually are their own society. They're known as the Merry Pirates.
Yeah, but
Clement looks to Dimitri and just shakes his head.
I'm just gonna sit back and let Dimitri handle this because I'm amused now.
One of them says, "So, what the hell do you want? You get?" He says as he walks up to the person who whistled for him.
Oh, me.
No, not you. The other
No,
guy.
he's talking to the one who claimed to have leadership over all 6.
Right. Yes.
Apparently, others might dispute such a decision.
He says, "Well, apparently we have an option for anyone who wants to take these fine fellows all the way to the idiot horses. 2 of them just turn around and walk off. I think you've got their vote, he says.
Well, looking at the remaining 3 plus him.
Yep. One of them was the one who called him a git.
Sorry?
One of the remaining ones is the one who called him a git.
Yep, okay. Okay, well. I see that the trade and opportunities here in the Azcan Empire have diminished somewhat. What was the next port of call for you expected to be? Were any of you planning on going south?
Well, we do have one ship that likes to head south. But, hey, he even put the horse motif on his ship.
And will that take us to the Millennial Empire?
Quite possibly, if he doesn't get sunk along the way.
What are the risks of that?
They look between themselves and go, depends on how much you're offering for the travel.
Well, but more importantly, he's the of the 4 people who are still here, he's one of them a representative of the ship with the horse head prow.
The guy who called the leader a git, yes.
Right, okay. Well, if you're looking to be heading south already, and when were you looking to depart?
When I can sell my goods and buy something decent that they might want to buy down south. Unless, of course, you're selling yourselves down south, which doesn't really give me much profit. They don't really buy slaves down there.
You have goods to sell here in Azcan before you depart?
Yeah, I was hoping to get rid of all that petty metals that they don't really use. But they trade for other people for. So I get it off their hands for, next to nothing. Redistribution, as you might say.
Yes, but I'm sure you have noticed that the trade and the economy of all sorts has diminished somewhat in Azcan recently.
Yeah, it's something to do with their temple going poof.
Plyman spends a moment, ignores this whole conversation, but spends a moment to think about what would ordinarily be very expensive that a bunch of horse lords would like.
Probably along the lines of something that you could use while traveling with finely made saddles, saddlebags, horse blankets, all the sort of things that you would use but not want to make yourself because they require the equivalent of like looms or lots of people.
Cool. Plyman turns around and walks away.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys can continue. Heal.
Can I try and sell this stuff?
Sure. I wouldn't mind someone to sell my crap for me. I'll even give you a whole gold piece if you can sell all the stuff.
Lol.
A whole gold piece.
Whole gold piece. Most people don't see gold around here. They like to trade in petty jades and shells. But I've got gold here.
But
gold's worth everything.
okay, so
But not worth here.
Selling it to the people here would achieve the emptying of your, like you're selling all your shit,
Yeah, pretty much.
and therefore that would accelerate our travel.
It would.
All right, I'm on it.
And free doesn't count as sale.
And what goods are you trying to get rid of?
Currently,
Or crap, whichever way you want to describe it.
Currently, I'm trying to sell them stuff I've stolen from other cities and towns of their nation. So, pretty much their own food and drink.
Okay, let's give it a go.
And how much were you expecting to make from it?
He looks around the town and sort of, has a side towards you. I have no idea, they don't have much.
No, they don't have much at all.
They haven't been sacrificing many outsiders of late, so I normally deal in the outsider crap they don't want anymore.
Alright. So I will try to persuade people to buy his shit.
Okay, give me a persuasion roll.
At the same time, Flarman would
24.
also like to investigate some leatherworks to see whether potentially they have need of scrap metal.
Okay, so you find their crafting area, and it's all quiet. It doesn't have a sound of any activity whatsoever in the whole crafting section of the city.
Alright, Flarman will spend some time investigating.
It appears nearly all the crafters had packed up and left about a week ago.
So I got 24.
Yeah, 24. Okay, so behind you, you hear a crowd buzzing as Willie starts to get everyone interested in buying random stuff that they may or may not potentially need, but will make their life so much better in the short term.
That's right.
Yes. Everyone needs a sneed.
So the guy with the rat on a stick and the insect on a stick comes up and spends his shells to buy random crap from you
Yeah.
that he doesn't really need, and he feels happy for it. He
All
thanks
right.
you greatly and gives you a big hug.
No
Selling
worries at
so
all.
many Columbuses.
Do you want a coffee or food?
I would love a coffee. And there is a salad on the top that you could grab for me with a fork, please. Splork. So yes, you sell a lot of people, you get lots of shells,
Okay.
a couple of coins,
All
a
right.
couple of metal weapons,
And I get my bonus gold piece.
and you get your bonus gold piece. The gold piece you get is the size of a dinner plate.
All right. On GP.
And it's worth 1 gold piece.
But up on surface world, it'll be worth more.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Done.
But so when they actually do their trade in the pirates, they actually divide up this 1 gold piece into segments.
Oh, okay. So it's not a gold piece.
No, it is a gold piece, but they split it up.
Right.
But it's what they call 1 gold piece.
Okay.
It's great.
All right.
So it would be the equivalent of 100 gold.
100. Nice.
And it has enough splits to be split into 20 segments.
No worries. All right.
Picture 20 doesn't sound quite so rhythmical.
It does. Well, it was meant to be pieces of 8, but someone stuffed up.
I thought, hang on, if we can divide this into smaller pieces, we get more.
Pretty much. And when you got pirates working together to form a nation,
I hate to break it to you, but the Australian government did pretty much the exact same thing when they had no currency.
I know. And look what they did.
Yep. They got Spanish coins and
Melted them
put a
down.
hole in them. No, they put a hole in them, and then that hole that they made, the piece that was the hole, that was now another coin.
That's right.
So they effectively doubled their currency.
2 for the price of 1.
Especially when you decide how much that currency is worth.
So, whilst Billy's off doing his consultancy work,
Yep.
Fleecing the market as it might be.
Dimitri will continue discussing with our fair potential captain.
Yep.
Has he introduced himself, given a name or anything like that yet?
Well, he calls himself the Pirate King.
Okay, PK.
That will work for him.
I'm gonna call him Chewy.
Only when I growl, he says.
Well, it would appear that my friend is successfully diminishing your required stock, so you'll expect to depart soon.
Yes, we could probably deport on the morning tide, he says, looking up at the sun.
I've heard few people refer to the morning tides in this land. You've travelled far.
Of course. Morning tide is where he points to the different planetoids orbiting the sun above. Morning tide is when that is approaching that quadrant and the tides are going out.
Of course.
What else would you
Is
call
there a
morning
reason it's
tide?
referred to as morning tide?
Tradition. Though I can't see where travelling in darkness is actually a good thing, we still have the stories.
So that will certainly be something that, assuming we do end up travelling with this particular captain, Dimitri will be interested in having discussions about these traditions and stories that they live by. So, thanks. Our trade is fair then?
So what are you offering for the trip, besides the fact
we've
that...
sold all your goods, made the trip worthwhile.
Well, you got paid for it.
Yeah.
I offered him fair pay for selling the goods. Twice what I'd offer a crew member.
So if I give the
Obviously, you
gold
get the
piece
profit
back,
for yourself.
can that buy transport?
Sure, you can buy transport for yourself. What about the rest of your friends?
100 gold for passage. Jesus.
It's a big trip. How far is it?
It is over 2,000 miles.
That's pretty big.
In the 70s, they were paying £10 for a trip from the UK to Australia.
Yeah, I don't know the exchange.
But that was
rate.
also government funded.
Shut up, Jeremy.
So if you give him £10 in weight of gold, he'll happily take you on board. He likes that idea of pounds. Cause he thinks it's probably going to weigh more than your halfling did, so you're offering a better deal for him.
I don't think I can afford that.
Well, you've already paid yours.
Yeah.
You agreed to that price?
Well, I think. Well, I was happy to trade it.
He can take other people on if they work their way the entire way.
There you go.
Whereas you're paid for passage, including food, comfort, and being pampered.
That's right. It's very important to be pampered. I might even sing a song or three.
Now, obviously, amongst these pirates, gold is a currency they recognise, but they also have a reasonable plenty of.
Well, when they're constantly stealing from each other, yes.
Yep.
And most of the
as
nations
Dimitri
around the world.
noted, in his time down here in the Hollow World, way too long as it's been,
Yep.
particular deficiencies or rarities that the pirates might be interested in. Obviously, jade was particularly of interest to the Azcan, but is apparently of less interest to these pirates. Is there a particular currency that he believes they would be most interested in?
Give me an insight roll.
17.
Okay, you probably think silver's worth more to these guys than gold.
Yep.
And potentially copper worth more than silver. For people who spend their life at sea, copper gets damaged far quicker than silver and gold. And so has to be replaced far more often.
Yep. So, yes, well, Dimitri will reach into a pouch and think, well, okay, if you're suggesting that the sales work of our friend there was not enough to buy passage for all of us, well, perhaps we might be able to spare a little silver, possibly even copper.
Okay, the moment you mention the word copper, there's absolute silence on the pier.
Jeremy, you've killed us all.
Or are they saying that copper is more valuable than gold?
Well, for them, copper is very hard to keep hold of because it deteriorates in the salt water.
Okay.
And they live their life at sea, and some of their stuff is made using copper.
There you go. Copper.
They replaced what they can with silver and gold, but it's not as hardy for them.
There you go.
So copper is iron would be better, but iron's not as easy to get.
Yeah.
Copper's a lot easier to get.
Okay.
So yes, well, Dimitri will soak in the silence as he looks very pointedly at the first gentlemen who were not interested in our passage. And
he just flicks his hands in your direction and walks off disgusted.
Carefully withdraw, giving a bit of a polish as I'm pulling it out of the pouch. How many of us in the party at the moment?
You've currently got about 4 people with you, with a couple more wandering around that can take a later boat. So technically the party's going to be split until the rest of the people show up.
Well, I'm happy that they can effectively travel with us at this stage and then split off at different locations, but still be actually in the same general area. So technically we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 current members. Is that right?
6 because Kiki will be stepping out.
Kiki stayed with the gentlefolk, did she? She'd had enough of this adventure in life, it was not too big for her.
She had.
And the gentlefolk certainly fitted in. So, yes. I'll pull out six copper pieces then.
His eyes sort of pop a little bit, going, okay, well, come this way, sir, come this way, as he leads you to his ship.
Well, and my friends.
Well, they can come too, but you don't want to show that around too much, otherwise you might not make it off the pier.
Well, they could try. Right.
But they would try. Just that a chance of getting a copper coin is the equivalent of a month's wages for these guys.
As I say, if they did attempt to try and remove ourselves with our copper without our permission, then they would certainly earn every bit that they might receive.
Barman makes threatening barbarian noises.
I like your friend, he says. He sounds so much like a horse when he's angry.
Settle down, Chewie.
Dimitri responds with, well, he practices.
So he leads you up onto the ship, and when you get up on the ship is the first time you notice that most of the musicians are playing very much traditional style Ethangarian instruments. They look a lot older than any of the instruments you've seen playing as a child.
Ethangarian noises intensify.
And there's a couple of people up on deck doing dances that you recognize, but are a lot more formal than you remember them.
Barman's gonna be distracted for a little while, guys. He joins in.
Mm-hmm. And they happily teach you where you how to get the most out of the dances.
Don't like that.
Well, it's all about rubbing up against the opposite sex.
I take it back.
Whilst Plumman ingratiates himself with the crew,
The captain
PK take Dimitri and the rest of us down to our cabin.
Well, he takes you into the captain's quarters, which are lavish. It's pretty much equivalent of a small building in its own right. It has 2 floors. You can see a balcony up above where his bed is. Big table with various maps all around the room. Big windows all along the back of the ship. So he can pretty much see anything approaching from the south of the ship. So all the way up to the horizon either side. So it's got great views, and the material here is all intricately worked. It's like they have spent years working on most of the wood here.
I would admire the wood.
So the craftsmanship that they've done here is the sort of stuff the elves wanted to do but never had the time to do.
Yep, I would admire the wood.
And it also looks like it's come from so many different ships, it's not funny.
Phrasing.
Okay, so he says, welcome, welcome, take a seat. There are lots of plush seating around. And he says, so, how much are you willing to spare for your trip? And how fast do you wish to get there?
Well,
And how many people would you like to kill along the way?
All of them.
No,
Well,
I didn't say your own people. I said, don't you like killing people? Are you sure you're pirate material? Are you really a halfling?
Well,
In what way?
Every halfling I know would quite willingly gut someone who says I don't want to kill.
Well, I don't know which halflings you're hanging out with.
Lots of halflings. There's halflings all over these seas. They are amongst the most ruthless pirates out there. If you try much as book a ship on them and you're not a halfling, be prepared to have something broken into their hide.
Okay. That's just not...
They don't take prisoners.
Okay.
That is
I know,
impressive.
yeah, you're talking about the Dark Sun version of halflings.
And he looks at you and goes, no, we've got this one sun, so it's always on. But these guys are absolutely vicious and territorial. So, if the fact that you didn't want to kill something, I always ask every halfling who comes on board, how many people do you want to kill along the way? So I then know how many sacrifices they have available. Or how often to pull over to shore so they can kill something.
What? I don't want to kill anyone.
He sort of looks stunned. He's like, are you sure you've got a real halfling here? Has he been, is he sun-touched?
Only on Wednesdays.
Only on Wednesdays?
Yeah.
What's a Wednesday?
Exactly.
You are confusing people.
We could say the same. But this craftsmanship is amazing.
I know, I've had many crafters come through and work on the place.
Do you have any puzzle boxes?
Yes, many. I've never opened them.
Why not?
They're puzzle boxes, they never showed me.
Isn't that the fun? Just trying to discover them.
I know, I just collect them.
Oh.
I've got this wall of them. He takes you over to this wall, it's got about 20 different puzzle boxes from different makers.
Okay, I'm getting a downtime for this, guys. I'm gonna ask if I can try and open them.
Sure. I'm sure you can spend many an evening trying to open them.
Yep.
Other people have.
I'm just gonna admire these and start playing with them.
Hey, wager first.
What wager?
Wager that you can open the puzzle box before before morning shift.
How about a wager if I can open at least one of these before we get to our destination?
I still might win that wager.
Possibly.
So far, no one's opened one.
We'll see. Oh.
And what are you wagering?
Fun?
1 copper?
5 copper?
But he doesn't really have that much copper to spare, but he can do 1 silver for your 5 copper.
Sure.
He sees that as a fair deal.
Yep. Alright.
He said he would have gone as high as 5 silvers for that copper, but
That's fine. The extra funds I would have gotten, I'm getting enjoyment out of this box.
okay. So, what would Dimitri like to talk to him about while you're hearing this very happy sounding Raya in the background playing with boxes?
Yeah, well, okay. Certainly, from the beach perspective, it's the idea of, well, that's okay. So, we depart on the morning tide, you were saying?
Yep. So only a couple of hours away.
How long do you expect the trip to last?
Probably about 15 to 20 days, depending on weather.
Okay. Well, and you asking the question about how quickly we needed to get there and how many we wanted to kill along the way.
Yeah, normally when I have a halfling travel with us, we have to have time specifically allocated for the halfling to kill things.
Well, in this particular situation, time is certainly valuable, but
So how have you tamed him? He says, we're
I,
stroking it quietly.
I would not wish to
Berries. Lots and lots
exert
of berries.
your crew too harshly, so
Yours doesn't eat flesh.
No.
He is weird.
This one's a vegetarian, it's weird.
and yes, there's no need for additional entertainment on the trip if they can be avoided.
Well, your elf seems happily playing with boxes.
I'm referring to any trips, any detours that might involve opportunities for our halfling to exert his true nature.
That would be fantastic because if you've ever seen a halfling actually get angry, it's a scary sight.
Well,
Yes, it is.
As I said,
You know, most of them file their teeth now.
okay. We've worked hard to teach ours to be a little more civilized, but we can't be certain when that true nature might surface.
Well, it's no wonder most of the locals were willing to sell to him. Buy or get eaten. Okay. Okay, so I will set out as soon as the tide permits, and I will sing something nice and disparaging to the other captains as we go.
Okay. Dimitri will have a glance over at the puzzle boxes that Raya has become so interested in. Are there any designs that Dimitri recognises?
Well, you want to do one and then put Raya to shame.
just walk over casually, pick one up, apparently at random, quickly open it, put it down again, and walk away.
Yeah, just drop on the floor and it opens. Like, oh. No.
Give me an arcane roll. Arcana roll.
18, correct, 25.
Looking at them, each of these puzzle boxes is equivalent of an arcane spell.
Oh, that's cool.
So, unlocking the puzzle box sets the spell off.
Not so cool.
Can I recognise the spell?
No, because you've heard of this practice, but all the people who used to do this have all died off.
Yeah. What a surprise.
Because yes, if I could recognise what the spell release might have been, I might have deliberately picked one that was sort of the dancing lights or the equivalent thereof to open up. But in which case then, I will point out to Raya that I'm not certain that these are quite the boxes that you may be used to.
Well, looking at them, you probably think they're 6th to 9th level spells on his shelf.
Yep. Whilst I do not doubt your ability to unravel their mysteries eventually, you may get quite a surprise if and when you do open it.
Why?
Well,
Box go boom!
each of these boxes houses a very powerful spell.
Oh, well, I'll just use detect magic then.
Nothing happens.
What? Oh,
Detection spells don't work in Hollywood.
oh. I tried.
Yeah, you just have to trust them
Not since you
to
fixed the mirror.
Yeah, but I lost, 5 copper then? Which is fine. Although I'm very tempted to keep going.
All 5 copper.
Well, you wouldn't want to lose copper here, you know, it's valuable. And Jeremy's right, everything is always different in the Hollywood.
Okay. What you should have been shocked, of course, at the idea was that Dimitri was willing to pay your passage. That whole copper each.
Dimitri paid his way through. You paid for your own way. You actually paid less than Dimitri did.
Yeah, it's good.
You feel better for that.
Yeah.
I think 86.
Okay, so they set off with the sounds of music playing from all the ships around.
Cool.
And you do get from some of the soldiers that they have lounging around that they use the music as a way to lull the god of the sea into letting the Leviathan sleep. So their ship's not destroyed out on the ocean.
Interesting.
Lyman has been partying up the storm this entire time with the crew.
So
Yep.
they play music constantly while they're at sea.
That's cool.
I could join in.
Mm. Well, they have 3 completely different bands.
For the one ship.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
amazing.
Well, each band has an 8-hour shift.
I was going to say, does that leave any crew left to actually sail the ship?
It does.
Oh, good.
When you figure out this ship itself has about 300 crew, about 100 on at any time.
Right.
And the captain and first mate, basically, he has a first mate and a second mate. So he takes one of the shifts, and each of his mates takes one of the other shifts. So they basically rotate all 3 shifts constantly. And as you head out onto the waters are a deeper blue than you've ever seen. You sort of saw the ocean from when you're up high, but you didn't quite experience it at this level. It's almost as if you're sailing over liquid topaz.
Good image.
Well, the red light hitting the ocean is reflecting the deepest blue.
Almost makes me want to kill someone.
I thought you'd like that rendition of halflings who made it to pirate level.
Alright.
Only the most vicious halfling pirates made it to this place. It's almost like pirate heaven.
Okay.
Okay, so you have yourselves about 17 days on sea. Apparently the god smiled on you.
Yeah, so Dimitri is certainly interested in taking the opportunity to talk to the captain and first mate and other members of the crew type stuff about some of their customs and stories that they apparently have, like this morning tide and don't travel with the dark at night. And
Yeah, they have stories of a world with a moon and traveling by moonlight and how moonlight is evil. Because it reflects silver, which is why silver is not their favorite currency, even though it's very useful in killing certain creatures.
Yep.
It's normally left for the priests of the sea god to wield in their tridents.
Okay. But yeah, so it's definitely very clear that none of these people have seen the moon or seen the old world from their perspective. It's definitely all just stories that have been carried down. Is that right?
Yep. None of their cultures appear to be any earlier than as close to your lifetime as 100 years.
Yep.
And they range back to when ships started, to their stories.
Yep.
And each time there was an event where a flotilla of new pirates would arrive on strange ships that they would then adapt to their navy. And each new ship would be added to their collective as piece by piece to all the other ships. So imagine they are the equivalent of the Borg for the water. The only outlier to that are the halflings.
In what way?
The halflings generally don't bond well with the others.
Halflings are racist.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
They have a tendency to kill everything they come across. So there is a small flotilla of halflings floating around that everyone tries to avoid. And I say try, they really, really try.
Alright.
They're so bad that they've actually caused an Azcan town to pack up and move. Because there was rumours that the halfling fleet was coming there.
Okay.
But no one actually knew if they picked up and moved because they didn't reach their destination.
Yes, can.
Yeah.
Right. Because they got killed.
No one knows.
No one knows for sure.
They disappeared. Rumours are that the halflings heard that they were packing up and moving and got even more offended and showed up.
Right. Okay.
So they're not sure what's worse, avoiding them or telling everyone you're avoiding them.
Alright.
And so every halfling that's seen in this world with the constant sun is considered to be one of the pirate halflings.
Alright.
And treated as such. Though they always expect you to have pointed teeth. And eat flesh without cooking it.
doesn't sound right to me. But anyway.
I know it doesn't sound right to you. It doesn't sound right to them either. That's why they're afraid of them.
Okay.
So they're amongst the scariest things on the water.
Alright.
And apparently they have the blessing of the sea god.
So me being from up top, I don't necessarily have the blessing of the sea god. Okay. Carry on.
You have the blessing of the vegetarians.
Okay.
Okay, so Raya gets to make a investigate roll as he tries to puzzle out one of these boxes.
Oh, something decent for once. Investigation. That would be a 21.
You happy with your 21?
Am I not meant to be?
Well, it's up to you.
I'd like to be happy with it.
Sounds pretty good.
Well, if you're happy with it.
It's not a natural 20, but it's a 21.
Did I put my... There it is. I knew I had it here somewhere. Okay.
I've got backup characters, it's fine.
Oh, that's right. It's a spell detonation, isn't it?
Well, we don't know if it's going to detonate, it's going to do something.
Okay, so let me see if I look it up right. As you open the box, you see magical letters appear before your eyes.
Magic energy disappear.
Well, as it appears before you, you get to make a saving throw. You get to make a Constitution saving throw. I'm sure that's your best.
Oh, of course, yeah. No, that's my worst. But there you go. Ooh, that's not too bad. Can I have advantage on this?
You could.
I'm sorry, guys.
How do you just get to choose things?
Oh, yes!
There are a couple of rerolls that I've been giving people.
Right.
Think for things like doing the
That's a
character sheets
19.
and stuff and showing up. So you get a 19. Okay. As you're looking at it, you feel yourself start to freeze in place. Your skin start to darken. It starts to get harder to move, to blink, to breathe, and then it just sort of fades a bit.
A bit.
Yeah, but it takes about an hour for you to get back to normal, but you'd almost been turned to stone.
Oh, that was close.
Apparently, you opened the turn to stone box.
Dimitri did warn you.
That's fine. That's fine.
Why do that?
Because it means I won this bet against this.
And when you finish the box, it's back to normal. Doesn't look open.
Did the captain even see this?
Let it go.
This is bullshit.
You think you remember how to open it?
No. No. Actually, yes. Do I remember how to open it?
You mean investigate roll.
Oh, natural 20.
Yep, you know exactly how to open it.
Excellent. I'm going to hand it to the captain and show him how to open it. Tell him this is how it opens.
He looks at you and no, you show me. I'd rather you have the honour of opening it because.
I already did.
In which case, we'll get all the crew in and you can share them.
No.
Why not?
Because
Yeah, don't you want to win the money? Because if I open it, I get the money.
that's fine. But if I show you how to do it, it proves that I know how to open it.
Well, don't you have that talk person, Dimitri? I'm sure you can get him to show you how to do it.
You want him to open it?
You want to have him open it.
Well, why don't you offer it to him then?
Well, you offer it to him, and then I'll get more of the crew, and we can all watch you.
There's definitely a trap on it.
There's a reason why he doesn't open them.
He's smarter than he looks.
He probably knows there's traps on them.
Yeah, he does.
Alright. Damn. Okay. Can I show one of the other crew member?
The crew member just looks at you and has that smile of knowing on his face. Yeah.
They know too. Okay. They've been told not to touch them.
They've heard the stories.
Oh, they've heard the stories. Okay. All right. I'll ask if I can keep this.
No.
No? Okay. All right.
You're sure you can open it. Or you owe the money.
If only Dispel worked here.
You're fucked up.
I know. I don't have not rejuvenate, whatever it's called.
Can I just run past an idea as a player to a player?
Mm-hmm.
You have at least one party member who is a little bit gullible and will do anything, just about anything on a dare.
Who are we talking about?
It's not nice to talk about yourself like that.
Well, what are you going to do?
No, I couldn't do that.
Yep, and that's why he kinda doesn't hate you.
How about the next most gullible person?
Who would that be?
It's up to you.
Nah.
The rogue.
The rogue. No.
The rogue.
Jeremy, he's got rogue levels.
He's got one rogue level.
That's still a rogue level.
Do you have any of the halflings on board?
He says, no, why would I have a halfling on board? It's
I
just
was
crazy.
Curious.
You do have a halfling on board.
Well, not a real halfling, I've got a crazy halfling. It doesn't really count. He's only half a halfling.
disguised as a lizard person.
I'm sure he's more known than halfling.
What I'll do is, instead, since I remember how they did this, I will make notes of how they built this or how it came apart, so I can rebuild it myself without having to go through the magical spell bullshit. But yeah,
It's very close to casting a spell.
but I'll just put down all the notes and stuff and how it looks like it was made and so forth, so I can try and make one in the future that doesn't have a spell bit in it.
Now looking at it, it's the equivalent of a spell scroll.
So it has like runes and stuff on it.
It's the equivalent of a spell scroll.
Oh, right. Okay, well that's cool. I'll just note that down then.
So it's a puzzle box. Instead of a scroll, it's a box.
That's cool.
And you
Okay.
basically have to solve the box, which can take more than one round.
Alright, I'll just note down all its intricacies and stuff.
And then generally, the longer it takes, the more powerful the spell.
Alright, and then I'll just put it back.
Okay, so he's waiting for his his 5 coppers to show up.
Yep, I'll hand him 5 coppers.
He thanks you for your service, and says, "Hope you don't turn the stone next time."
Yeah, that was interesting.
It was.
Good fun though. I recommend you try a different one.
Well, I know what they will do.
You've done all of them, have you?
No, I commissioned them.
But some of these are really old.
Yeah.
How old are you?
That's a rude question to ask, he says, looking you up and down. I don't think I know you that well, and walks away.
What race is he?
Hard to tell. He hides it.
Okay.
He's got one of those white brim hats that covers a lot of stuff. Well, considering they're out in the sun all 24 hours of the day, his clothes cover most of his body in flowing robes.
I'll apologise as he walks off and tell him I'm 170. You can't be that old.
Well, come back when you've got a 0 on the end of it, he says.
Holy shit! Okay. That answers that question.
And so, Jeremy, what sort of questions were you wanting to ask him along the way?
Actually, from Dimitri's perspective, when he's not talking to the captain of the crew directly about trying to find out their what they know of their past and history and where their mythology and tales come from. He's planning on spending most of the voyage reading through his own personal library. Unless, of course, there's another library on the ship that makes it more interesting.
Nerd.
Well, they do have a library of maps and sea tales.
Okay, if the captain is happy for Dimitri to look through that collection, he will certainly partake of the opportunity.
And the captain's happy to talk to you while you go through it because the Tales is the livelihood of the city.
Yep.
And the Tales tell you more than the maps do.
Wait, so they're details of sea tales?
They are. And sometimes you need to recite the right verse to make the map work.
I'm just going to take my pun elsewhere.
I liked it, Dave.
Thanks, Jeremy.
I liked it. So I added some seriousness to it.
I mean, I was a bit disappointed with Martin's response, really. I was hoping there'd be some rhyme to go with the verse.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm not very good at coming up with rhymes. I'm not a rapper.
Okay.
Well, I guess.
Dimitri is certainly interested in the maps and understanding, as I say, if there's more to the maps than simply the reading and the pictures thereof. Because, assuming they're maps of the Hollow World, he wants to be able to get a good understanding of exactly where they're trying to get to, rather than the fairly generic and overarching maps that we've been looking at so far.
Okay, so you find maps of the Hollow World, maps of the Outer World, and and even amongst the maps, a map of Between the Stars.
Noting the maps that are not of the Hollow World, Dimitri will pick one of them, like if he recognises one from the known world that he knows about. He'll inquire as to whether the fair captain has ever sailed these seas.
He has never sailed those seas. That's from people who came from one of the flotillas that arrived. They called themselves the Trelda.
And they arrived some time ago, I'm guessing?
Quite a long time ago. Each brings with them a uniqueness of their own, and we share that uniqueness amongst the fleet. We have a big gathering when one comes.
Any of the 12 members of your crew?
No, they tend to stick to themselves more, and most of them decided they wanted to settle. Strange people wanted to actually be on land instead of on sea. But they did run into some halflings not long after arriving, so that might be the reason.
So,
An encounter with halflings can always influence one's outcome on the world.
Yes.
so as far as how they get here, is it just through the north and the south pole?
No, normally they come out of a fog that appears out of nowhere.
Okay.
No storm, no wind, no nothing. There's just this big wall of fog, and ships just come out of it. And the fog may only be a metre away.
Mm.
You've got a sun that doesn't move, and you call that weird?
You have a fair point.
And floating floating islands.
Does the captain know when the last addition to the flotilla arrived? How long ago?
About 100 years. Give or take a decade or two.
And
He doesn't keep that close of time.
what were they? Could you describe those new personnel?
Oh, those ones were more. They had come from a penal colony of the Thyatans.
The Thyatans.
Yeah, they introduced a bunch of new vicious halflings to the halfling flotillas,
Indeed.
who particularly hate humans.
And the looking at the maps, where are these Thyatans based?
Apparently, they're based somewhere near where the Troldar used to be, because they share similar maps, though the islands have moved.
Oh, again, when these escaping refugees arrived and spoke of Fiasha, it was not a name that you'd heard of before?
No, it was a new name. But pretty flag. I traded for their flag. They now fly an Attilian flag over their ship.
Fair enough. Well, okay, so Dimitri's certainly keen on studying the maps of the Hollow World, and hey, maps of the Outer World too, although apparently they're all going to be a bit out of date, probably. And curious as to how the stars get mapped.
Well, they show these stars in many different states, which some are familiar, some aren't.
Yep.
And some describe different numbers of the moons.
And does PK explain what he understands that the star maps are representative of?
Apparently they're from older people, that some of the first pirates came across them. They weren't actually pirates themselves. But you can trade with them with the Southern Elves if you can ever get there.
The Southern Elves had more of these maps, or they had them originally?
They had them originally, but if you get into their valley you may never get out again. They don't like to let people leave.
So the elves are also killers.
Oh no, they don't kill you. They try to smother you with kindness so you never leave.
Okay, alright.
What if you're an elf?
They still try to smother you with kindness so you'll never leave.
Now,
Unlike the gentlefolk who are actually kind, these people use their version of magic, which are made out of metal, to do everything for you. So you don't even have to worry about moving yourself. It can move you around. You don't have to worry about breathing. It can breathe for you.
Oh, it's shaman possession spells.
when we were in the Azcan land, they mentioned elves to the south, but they did not sound like these elves. Southern elves are different from the whatever the word is for the dark elves, the shadow elves.
The Skydenhelven are all very angry elves. Comes from the name, I'm sure. It's always so harsh to pronounce, which is just like their nature. Unlike the halflings who call themselves the kin, which you'd think the kin is a nicer sort of name, but they're the most vicious people I've ever met. Yet the Skydenhelven are more feared inland than the halflings. But on the coast, no one fears anything more than the halflings. Then the southern elves, they call them the Black Law elves. Don't know why, because they don't seem particularly knowledgeable. But they always want to be friendly because they want to know everything you do because you're their best friend. Whoever shows up becomes their new best friend. For however long you live for.
I'm sure they'd love a visit from me then.
I'm sure they would. They wouldn't want you to ever leave.
And where do these southern elves live, pointing at the map of the Hollow World side of the house?
He points down to the southern polar cap. They're in the ice fields. Basically, they have their own valley there, and most people die before reaching it. You can't sail there. And magic tends to fail near them.
Yep. And obviously, yes, it's a very long travel. Even if everything went smoothly, it's a very, very long way south.
It is. Yep. And you have to do it without magic, which he doesn't like because he likes magic.
Well, as I can tell by your collection. So.
Well, it takes a while to acquire that amount, he says.
Okay, when I was talking collector, I was looking at the puzzle boxes rather than his maps and things. And on that idea, looking at the books and the tales and the fact that some of the maps need a verse to really see what goes onto them.
You see that each map has the equivalent of a scale on top of it.
Yep.
So that each map has a piece of music required to unlock it.
Right. So we're talking a musical scale, not a map scale.
Musical scale, yes.
And also got a scale at the bottom of them, hopefully.
Oh no, they don't have a physical scale, you just gotta know what it is.
Right.
Well, they gotta have some secrets.
Indeed. Oh no, it's a parody that's got some musical talent in it, right?
So Dimitri looks at him and goes, I'm tone deaf.
What's
No.
What
Dimitri's
musical quality do you need?
Come on.
I've got that. Fuck's sake.
So Willie comes in to try to help you.
24.
You have no problems understanding the tones required for all these maps. They could be done by a single person,
Okay.
and normally require either a flute, a lute, or just your voice.
Yes, I've got those.
So whatever instruments they have a very similar range to those.
Yeah.
And so when you actually play the music, you do see that the maps animate. And you can see hidden areas, and when you tell a tale relating to that area, those areas will be detailed and highlighted.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's one of their unique magic pieces.
Do any of the maps apparently show our current location, like have a dot on the map indicating the ship's movement?
No, none of them have that.
Alright.
These are all basically the equivalent of a stored image,
Yep.
like programmed image.
So, the Hollow World maps do incorporate this magic. It's not,
Yeah.
or is it only Hollow World maps, or is it both the Hollow World and Outer World?
The Hollow World and Outer World, these people took that technology with them, like the puzzle box magic.
Yep, and they've managed to maintain it. Yep. Okay.
Well, it's part of their culture now.
Yep.
It's amusing when you assimilate all these cultures into one culture. You get a very distinct culture. And they do describe how they have floating cities where the pirates gather on occasions. So the pirate is basically the equivalent of a captain who, a pirate king is a captain who basically pirate a crew of members of the society around to basically gather food and supplies and more information about the world. So each pirate floating city is a collection of ships that have come together, and they can pull them apart at need.
So does that imply that this particular ship we're on may be part of that collective of floating ships if it wished to be?
It is one of their larger ships that they use, yes. They have smaller ships, but they rarely take the smaller ships into port because they're more fragile.
Yep.
And the larger ships carry more crew, which the Azkans find a little more intimidating.
Yep.
Plus 300 people with spiky, sharp weapons standing on a ship shore is enough to scare most people.
It also tends to explain possibly why the ship can be built so tall and potentially ungainly with space in there, if it doesn't necessarily have to cope with the swell of the sea. Realising that the ship may be one that would fly, Dimitri would certainly be interested to see and learn how that might work if you're willing. Not necessarily aiming to say we have to fly there, because hey, as I said, time is advantageous, but hey, it's also nice to have a pleasant cruise.
He does
A bit of time to relax and catch up on reading.
He does say flying ships have been heard of, but none of the pirates of the Merry Pirates have that ability.
But didn't he get like? Did it look like this ship could actually be part of the flying?
A flotilla, as in a group of sailing ships lashed together.
Oh, okay. They don't actually fly.
No.
Because you're about flying citadel. I said a floating citadel. Sorry, yes. Apologies.
Floating, not flying.
Yes. Well, or floating on water, not floating on air.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And so that they are used to making themselves part of a collective.
Yeah. No. That's all right. That's yeah. I misunderstood the term floating and how you described it, but yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, I like Dimitri's happy to just enjoy the opportunity to soak in new information. And also try and ensure that Raya does not go around opening more of those boxes.
But they're interesting.
You also do find out that most of the captains get extended life based on the life of the ship. They live for as long as the ship does.
Unless you come along and kill them as a halfling.
You kill them and destroy the ship.
Yeah.
So halflings particularly prize the captains.
Right. That's pretty good.
As you said, you're like the Borg. Take out the leader and they'll all drop. All the drones stop.
Yeah.
Which is why they'll all fight to the last man to protect the captain.
Yeah.
Assuming the voyage is mostly uneventful, as we're approaching the Millennial Empire,
Yep.
and noting the fact that we seem to have had a fairly pleasant voyage, Dimitri will be inquiring as to what the captain's plans are once we arrive at Millennial Empire.
Well, he intends to have a bit of shore leave because that is where he originally came from, a similar people.
Originally came from a similar people.
Yep.
And what are we at the Millennial Empire for?
Does Barman perhaps hear that conversation?
You can, yes.
There's certainly no reason, like I say, this is generic discussion happening over 2 weeks of voyaging, so...
So
Barman asks him where he came from, who were his people.
His people were basically a bunch of pirates who used to prey upon the northern lands of a continent that no longer exists.
Then why the obsession with horses?
Because he grew up amongst horses.
Really?
And he's always had a love of horses.
What was the name of this land?
He calls it... I'm just going to get the name right.
That's alright, just go with what you can.
That's okay, I just have to...
I mean, the more important thing is whether it's a name that's in the hollow world or in the outer world.
So, it was... the continent was called Skothar. And it was the steppes of Jen where he used to roam as a child with the Jenites.
Is this something Barman has ever heard of?
It does ring in some of your folklore from where the Ethengarians hailed from.
Barman looks astonished and starts speaking of the creation stories of Ethengar and where Ethengar came from.
He seems to recognize some of them, though he also has far more gods in his pantheon, as well as the worship of more things than just the horse. Though he particularly loves the horse.
Barman then goes on rants about his love of horses and talks about horses. In fact, unless the captain truly loves horses, Plumman will probably annoy him talking about horses.
So when he's not talking to Dimitri, watching Raya fumble with boxes, or trying to avoid the halfling, as all good captains do, he has long conversations about horses with you. Not trying to sing you out or anything, but you are the thing he fears the most.
That's fine, I'm happy to be feared. It's fine.
So whenever you play for musicians, they're always perfectly in tune.
Okay, good.
Anytime one of them so much as doesn't know it's wrong, he faints.
Right, just in case.
Well, they're thinking, oh no, I'm gonna die now.
That guy Willie, yeah.
Mm.
Bloodthirsty.
Bloodthirsty vegetarian.
When he was talking about the lands that he came from and things like that,
Yep.
again, looking back at the maps, do they come as, we're talking Hollow World lands or Outer World
You're
lands?
talking outer world lands, as in people that have long died to history.
Yeah, but certainly from the previous discussions that Dimitri was specifically looking out for, no one on, I got the impression that no one on the ship, whilst they might have met people who'd come from the outer world or heard of them joining the flotilla at various times, he got the impression that none of the actual crew members had ever seen the outer world and seen this moon or things like that. But now it indicates that the captain has been there, but maybe his memory's not quite right for it, or...
You think all the captains from his speech once originated on the outer world. They are the last of the people who came through with the flotilla.
Okay. And is he aware that he came from the outer world in that sort of sense?
He generally tries to avoid saying it, which is why you have to trip him up.
Right, okay.
Lyman also confers with Dimitri and says that he comes from a time well before Ethengarian history was recorded, but also he comes from lands that are written in Ethengarian ancient history.
Yes. I know all about...
And the reason that he's lived this long is the ship. Right. Cool.
And that's what the culture is all about, the ship being...
Lyman ever so accidentally trips Dimitri over itself while he's walking.
So anyone can serve on a ship, just that the captain is the one who originated
the ship.
Also, Lyman makes no attempt to cover the fact that he tripped Dimitri over.
Okay, so as you're coming into Coast for the first time in over a week, you see griffins flying above with their light glinting off brass.
I don't like this.
Do they have riders?
Well, basically, you can easily tell the glinting of bronze, but you can't tell someone at the distance. Do you have a spyglass?
Do I have a spyglass? That's a very good question.
Do you want to earn a spyglass?
I think I might have one.
Well, spyglasses are an amazing tool. Just don't look at the sun with it.
Significant items.
But well, okay, so let's go back a bit with the main point of the conversation about what he planned to do after the millennial and dropping us off was, yes, okay, if he was planning on doing some shore leave, that's good. Because, yes, Dimitri will let him know that not certain exactly how long our tasks in millennial will last, but we are expecting to then require travel to whatever the other place was. It's not the Nithian Empire, but I can't remember the name's got it in my head. In the island chain.
Okay, the Jumper area across the Anathi archipelago, which is where the Merry Pirates are based.
Yep.
So,
and the
so he does look a bit pale with that's very close to the waters hunted by the Hin, or the Kin as they call themselves.
that's right.
Yes.
We've got our own
I
half
do
thing. We'll
have a
fight them off for you.
spyglass.
Okay, so pulling it out, you're holding more wealth than most of these people see in their lifetime. It's made out of really nice brass.
Okay.
Holding it up and having a look, showing off your wealth.
Well, I don't want to show off my wealth.
I'm just teasing you with the whole thing of you're holding more wealth than most of them will see in their lifetime.
Okay.
You pulled out what was just a random tool to help you see better, and they all went, "Oh my
It's
god!"
copper. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's one of the cheapest metals around.
Yes.
For them, it's one of the rarest metals around.
All right.
Okay, so and you can see yes, there are riders on each of the griffins,
Okay.
and they are very much in the vein of the griffin riders of Karameikos.
Do I know what they are?
Dimitri knows who they are.
Okay.
They are the main scouts of the nation of Karameikos, right next to the nation of the Five Shires,
Okay.
and they have messenger services that travel from Karameikos to Darapin on a regular basis.
Alright.
So they're normally.
So I might be aware of them.
You could be aware of the Karameikos Griffin Riders, but you may not necessarily have seen them, but you would be aware of the existence.
You would have seen the Karameikian ones because they are regularly in Darapin City.
Alright.
And looking at these ones, these aren't dressed the same. They wear a lot of bronze, which is what brought them to your attention in the first place. And they fly in about a group of 5.
Alright. And have they seen us?
Well, easily to see a ship across the water with the wake it leaves behind you.
Okay.
You think the whole reason they're out here is someone spotted the ship and they're coming to check it out to make sure it's not halflings coming to kill everyone.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Have they seen a halfling? And
It's not the halfling designed ships from what you've been told.
okay, but I might go below decks once I've had a good look.
You've had a good look. The griffins look a little slimmer and smaller than the ones you remember.
Right.
Maybe you've just grown.
Well, no. Even through a spyglass, they're still a long way away. So they look a bit smaller.
Well, in comparison to the size of the riders on top,
Okay. Yep.
which is what you're given for a basic comparison. Either that or the riders are giant.
Yep.
All I can think of is like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, when he gives him the spyglass and then he tries to stab them with the sword.
But they're right in front of me.
I hope I don't embarrass myself that badly. But
You're used to spyglass. You know this technology.
okay, so judging from the distance, the griffins are a bit smaller, but enough to support a man, and that's what we're looking at.
Yep.
Okay.
Could they support?
Either that or the
Dragon.
people are a bit bigger.
What?
Is it either that or the men are a lot bigger?
The people are a bit bigger.
Maybe, yeah, but I
And the
guess-
Griffins are obviously still large enough to support them.
All right. Well, I guess I'm saying the humans are the same size as normal humans, just the griffins are a little bit smaller.
That's how they appear to you through the
Yeah.
spyglass.
I'm
Okay.
happy to go with that.
So what people notice is that they circle the boat for about an hour and then head back.
Okay.
Takes you another 2 days to reach shore from when you first see them.
All right.
Yes, there are seabirds in the back.
But we're not going to just kill them.
We changed over to the high seas, a good day for sailing sunset.
Okay. Yeah. So we're not going to kill the griffins.
Says
We're not going to kill who?
Yeah, I know, right? I knew
What?
we thought you were a vegetarian.
Okay.
Kill the griffins. Okay.
They're not.
Halfling over here.
He's just trying to live up to his people's expectation.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm
Yeah,
not
okay.
going.
We all know that Mr. Toxcopple loves vegetarians. They're so tender.
They look after themselves quite well.
Very healthy.
Okay, so coming into shore, you see big statues up by the coast. About 30-40 feet tall. Very statuesque looking. As in, very, very well posed. Give me a perception roll to see what you notice of them.
That's 11.
So 11. Human?
Yeah.
All humans look alike to you.
Just
21.
25?
25. It almost looks like Dimitri standing on the shore.
21 for
Staring
Clark.
out to
Dimitri.
sea.
Hey, Dimitri, your cousins are in statues. You might want to set them free.
So the Millennial Empire is the analog to Karameikos. Maybe.
Historically, Traldar people left Traldar and formed the Millennium Empire. And the people who remained became the Troldara, which he's descended from.
Right, and are you telling me something by saying that?
That's basically for Jeremy's information.
Okay.
Well, okay, and when having seen the Griffin Riders, okay, he was certainly immediately thinking of, hang on, although admittedly, the Griffin Riders are actually Karameikos, aren't they? So they're more Thiatan originated?
No, they
Or
are...
the Teldarans rode Griffins before the Thiatans arrived?
The Thiatans took it from the Troldarans.
Right, yep, okay.
And claimed it as their own.
Yep.
So the Thiatans are the Borg version of the land people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they basically take everyone's society and say, it was always ours to begin with.
Right.
We'll take your uniqueness and join it into our own. Whereas the Alphakians are, we'll beat you into our own uniqueness and make you forget yours.
Yes.
Because
And
obviously ours is superior.
And the halflings used to eat people.
The ones from the Five Shires aren't that vicious.
No, I can attest to that. But I'm starting to, now that I'm starting to feel the fear of the halflings, I'm starting to like it.
I was going to say, he's starting to go around with a nice sharp dagger and he's picking at his teeth quite regularly.
Eyeing people up and down and saying, have you eaten recently?
No.
No reason.
Alright. Maybe not. But we'll see.
Well, as I said, I was placating PK when he was concerned about potentially travelling near to the halfling homeland. I said, oh, that's right. We'll just stick our halfling onto them. They'll be all fine. It'll be fine.
What could possibly go wrong?
That's right. I've only got a fireball at my fingertips, but we'll see how we go. Does that go off?
I mean,
Fireball?
there's one thing that could go wrong.
Right.
Fireballs have been known to incinerate ships to the water level.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is nothing scarier on a ship, especially a sail ship, than fire.
Though halflings have the ability to reflect spells.
What? Reflect spells?
But you knew that, obviously.
Is that part of my abilities here?
Part of the Five Shire halflings.
Right. Okay.
The Five Shires particularly screw with wizards. Wizards' magic does not work the same on them as it does everyone else.
What does counter charm do?
So they have an ability called Denial, which basically is how do I screw with this arcane magic far more than they can deal with. It's not going to work the same for them. Think Kendar's on steroids with magic.
Okay.
I shall pinch your magic and use it back on you.
Now, what were we going to remember? What was Jem's message about what was important to get to Manuel for?
You were to get to there and speak to the Emperor.
I was going to say, we had to talk to the Emperor, yes. As we're approaching then, I will move some of the conversation with PK towards exactly what we can expect of the millennial culture and layout. And
Well, they look a lot like you, or at least they attempt to, he says.
And do they have birds of prey by the name of falcons?
They do. They love their birds as much as their horses.
So that would be a millennial falcon.
And there was a millennial griffin and there's a millennial horse. They all go fast. Fastest around. At least that's what they say.
Well, millennials do ruin the world.
And they'll do the Nithian run in half the distance, they say.
How they felt like do they exert their influence beyond their borders much?
They're very self-centered. He says you'll fit in perfectly. You look like them, you sound like them. The only thing is you don't dress like them, but once you show up, I'm sure they'll start dressing like you. Because you look so much like their hero.
Yeah. It is good to see that my reputation precedes me.
Yeah, they seem to worship someone by the name of Halav.
Interesting.
Though if you had a big bushy beard and red hair, you'd be a spitting image for him.
Mm. So, maybe a nice altar sculpt if we get off the ship. Might make it easy to get to see the Emperor. Might make it hard to leave, but...
So you come into shore. It was a long trip in because of having to actually take the boat in does take a while.
Uh-huh.
And as you come into the docks, you see a lot. You hear a lot of gasps from the locals staring at Dimitri on the boat.
Why?
Because the statues look like him.
Alright.
Imagine you see big sporting celebrity that you've been admiring all your life suddenly come in standing on top of the standing on a train coming in, and you can see him quite clearly.
Ah, Dimitri.
Alright, so the fact I'm a halfling doesn't matter that much.
Well, they don't notice you over the rails.
Okay.
Most of the rails are designed to go at least halfway up a normal person, so you'd be having to.
Okay.
It helps to hold off the halflings if they make the railings move over halfling height.
And all the rungs are sized for at least a medium-sized person, so halflings have to struggle more to get everywhere. But these ones, they got sharp claws, so they just climb up everything.
Sharp claws.
Reputation precedes them, whether it's true or not.
I mean, I can follow the claws. That's right.
Okay, so as you pull in, there is a chant of Halav, Halav coming from the docks.
That guy, Dimitri.
Okay, cool. We're renaming you to Halav.
As we approach, and like as we're getting ready to depart the ship, Dimitri will thank PK for a pleasant voyage, and offer him a couple more copper to hang around for when we wish to leave.
Sure, he's happy for, depending on how much you pay him, to stay around for that many days.
Well, so I was going to offer him 2 copper to hang around for an indefinite period.
It says 2 copper will buy you 2 weeks.
There. And then, yeah.
And you see big centurions standing at a whopping 4'2", standing at the docks where most of the populace are barely touching 4 feet.
Dimitri will
People got big.
carefully do his hair.
Most of the women are about 3'8".
Freaking halfling size.
Yeah. So just think how big that makes the griffins.
Yeah.
Because you thought they might have been giants on the griffins.
Sorry, we've got a vegetarian halfling. We'll be fine.
What you thought was griffin was actually like millennial falcons.
He loves eating vegetarians.
We'll just throw the halfling at the giants. We'll be fine.
And so yes, the big imposing 4'2" people really do stand out amongst the crowds. Their helmets almost a clear head above everyone.
Well, I mean, okay, in that case, then, so Dimitri is a giant amongst a legendary giant coming in at 5'2".
He is. He's a full foot above everyone. How tall is Rio?
I think I'm fairly tall, actually.
Are you sure you are? Because most elves sit between 6 and 7.
I think he was on the taller end, so he was like 6. No, he's not, apparently. What the hell?
He's the shrew.
Well, possibly I should check that height for Dimitri, because that might be before we actually looked at them from the very first iterations of the campaign. So.
It's okay, you can be extremely tall.
Oh, like, I was like, it's just thinking about
supposed to be
how
like
he, like,
6'8"
compared to
or
modern
something. I put down
Keldarans,
4'10", so
I would have said he was fairly average, but I remember that Penadir shrunk a lot from the original plan when we worked out what the average height of the Kurgans were. But, I'm not certain whether I looked carefully at the Keldaran averages. So.
Well, I have a quick look.
But either way, okay, I'm happy that he's probably taller than these guys in general, and hey, as the return of Halav, it can't be surprising.
Dimitri would be quite big, wouldn't he? Or, I don't know. Claiming to be tall.
No, I think Guardians are actually quite short.
So Jeremy, we have 4.5
So
to
I think-
5.5 feet tall for most of the
Keldaran?
Keldarans, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so 5'2" is actually quite reasonable.
It is quite reasonable.
And then yes, obviously the a giant amongst the men is the return of Halav ought to be.
I mean, I said Plumman was quite short, but Plumman's still around the 5'2" mark.
Which is still pretty good.
So, has Halav got any other stories associated with him? Like, is he gonna get sacrificed in fire or something? Or he's cool?
Because Ethangarians are about the same size.
Yeah.
Okay, so, as you...
Did PK give an indication as to how long the millennials have been here?
A millennium?
A while, he says.
A while.
I'm just curious at the fact that amongst Dimitri's collection of books, specifically the variations on the Book of Halav, at least one of them is at least 600 plus years old.
Yeah, but what you
Just
really...
wondering whether or not that might actually
The
be
millennials' big greatest enemy is they're about 40 years older. They're called the Boomers.
Okay, so most of them disappeared from the outer world about 1100 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
That was the time frame that their empire collapsed.
Yeah. Okay, well, Dimitri will not make obvious show of the adoration of the masses as he's approaching, coming down the ship, but he will quite happily consider it his due.
Okay, so as you come off the decking onto the pier, a big cushion has been carried out by some tall, dark-skinned men that stand out more obvious to everyone else. They're about 6 foot tall.
Very tall.
Muscles everywhere. They look like they could pretty much snap someone's neck by just flexing their arm.
They're 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe these are the Griffin Riders. Do they appear to be millennial or Keldaran?
They appear to be. They appear to have some of the look of the Traldaran, but less refined.
Okay. So they're not obviously they're not obviously come from somewhere else, but there may have been some mixed breeding happening, or some very old influences.
You do know that there was a lot of scholarly debate of where the Traldar people came from, because history has lost their how they got to where they were.
Yep. So well, so Dimitri's still coming down. You effectively meet them on the dock, I guess.
They bow so that they can drop the giant pillow down so you can get up on it.
Giant pillow.
Yeah, they're carrying a giant pillow between the 4 of them.
Okay.
Apparently your litter has arrived.
But it appears to be more of just a giant cushion rather than actually a litter that would be something more comfortable to try and feel more sturdy to actually sit in.
Well, all the edges have scroll work along it with wood and metal.
Oh, okay. So
Wow.
it's a giant cushion in a frame.
Yeah.
Okay. So, is there any spokesman for this amongst the four, or someone else with the four?
There is a guy in a toga
Yep.
and sandals.
Of course there is.
Hail, Almighty, prophesied one.
Greetings.
We have been waiting for you. Please come henceforth, so you may address the Senate of how you shall save our mighty empire. Come on, Tut, move on.
Presumptuous.
And you can bring your servants with you too. Go on, hurry up, chop. He claps.
Well, my plan was actually to speak with the Emperor rather than the Senate.
Well, you got to speak to the Senate about the Emperor. Come on, hurry up. We've been waiting for you. You've taken a long time to get here. What's taking so long? Come on, you're supposed to... He just keeps on going.
I'm here at precisely the time I intended to be.
He says you're late.
Never late.
What sort of hero are you? We needed you a while ago, and here you are, taking up time on the docks.
He puts himself in between Dimitri and this moron.
From what you can gather, he is a senator.
So a moron.
And he appears to be a little bit taller than most of the others. So he sits at about 4'4".
So climbing towers over him.
Yep.
Yeah, but he doesn't tower over the four litter bearers.
That's okay.
Yes, go on. Let the Nithians carry you. We'll get you to the Senate as quickly as possible.
So they are Nithians, yeah. So,
How,
like, Dimitri's not saying that out loud, he's more just, yes, okay.
is anyone fearful of me?
They look at it this way. They haven't noticed you. They're all staring at their hero.
Okay.
They prophesy savior of their people.
Alright. Tag along.
The fact that you're tagging along, he must be such a good savior. He's tamed a halfling. How much better proof of skill is there? No one's done that in the past.
Right, okay.
Yes, well, Dimitri will take his place on the cushion then.
Okay, and they pick you up and start taking you rather rapidly, and the guy in the toga turns to everyone else and says, "Come on, hurry up, pop up," and then he just starts walking off.
Okay.
He's lucky he's not getting murdered.
The day is young.
That's right. And exactly who are you talking about?
Well, let's leave it there.
Just making sure that's nothing I have to deal with. No, nothing I have to deal with right now. Okay, so I think I might end up doing what happens at the Senate next session. So you guys get taken through the city with lots of cheers, lots of fireworks, and lots of streamers.
Okay.
As they've declared today a holy day when Hallam has returned.
Alright.
No pressure.
Simon knows this is not going to end well.
It's alright, Dimitri's got it well in hand.
That's why it's not going to go so well.
As we walk away from the pier, we hear the pirate singing, "Under pressure."
That's okay, they're sending along people to witness what's happening.
I hear the great bard, Devad Bui, is out here.
We'll make a new story for their collection. Okay, so we'll call it there for tonight, and I will
Thanks very
catch the
much,
rest
guys.
of you next session.
Yes.
Cheers, buds.
And yes, you have made it to the Millennium Empire to find out you were needed. Apparently a while ago.
Right.
Well,
It's okay, we can just
Let's
blame
face
the
it.
rumors.
you can blame the gentlefolk.
Yeah, the
I'd rather
rumors.
blame
Wait too
vegetarians.
lackadaisical about passing on the message.
Well, it took you so long to arrive there and for them to remember that it was about you.
Yeah, well. But obviously it wasn't Dimitri's fault.
Well, they never rush with anything,
Exactly, okay.
including, looking after people. They tend to forget you're there.
Right.
But, okay. They certainly made the sojourn there quite pleasant with their disinterest.
Well-
I've having been in the
Well,
in the
Jeremy,
Extant
let me
Empire and in the smoky mirror, not being interesting or the centre of attention was quite pleasant.
And look, now currently Dimitri is the bomb.
The bomb.
Always has been.
Yeah, he has always been a bomb.
Sorry to rush off.
That's
I'm
okay.
very tired because of the gym session.
Okay, then. Well, thanks very much, guys.
Well done.
Have a good night, all. We'll see you next week or the week after.
And
Yes.
Stay safe in the meantime.
have a good weekend, and let me know if anyone's interested in doing potential board games on Saturday. Because I've got a nice board game called Zia that'll be fun to play with 5 people. Space exploration game. With lots of randomness.
Alright.
Good.
Okay,
See how
I'll
we go.
see you later.
Have a good night, all.
Good night.
See ya.
Bye.